Hi everyone, it's Sunday night, and as usual, I come back from the studio on Sunday nights and I'm by myself, so it tends to be a time of the day when, or in the week when I'm by myself because Tom is at the studio teaching, so it's kind of a nice time of the week, and it's an easy time to make videos, even though it's evening and the light's not as good and all those other factors. Anyway, I also kind of just wanted to come on and do an update because I haven't really done one. I guess in a couple of weeks, and I've been meaning to. And I've shot several videos besides just the readings in the last couple of weeks, and then time picks up speed and energy, and various different needs come up, and then I find that I don't have time to get in and I forget why I recorded the video, and then it's like I'm not really sure it's relevant, so sometimes they just go on backlog and other times I end up deleting them. You know how it goes. So yeah. Such is the way that things are and the way they've been of late. But I did have a really wonderful time at the Pottery sale last week. Obviously don't have any new pottery to share this week because all the good stuff was for the sale. I have got a couple of pieces that I've made in the time since. Yeah, I'm trying to think when I started those. I mean, it was before the pottery sale started, and I just kind of been slowly working through getting these pieces done, knowing that they're coming up for the next one that we've got. So we have another pottery sale coming up in about a week and a half. Yeah, about that. It's called a mug market, so that's kind of exciting. I just glazed a bunch of mugs today and put them in, so yeah, I would think I'd have them by next Sunday night, so hopefully I'll have those through. We had so much fun. And I think you can kind of see behind me, just over, nope, this shoulder, over my right shoulder, next to the owl, next to the Buddha, there is a little, I just got a text from Tom telling me that he bought potatoes and he's going to be making some you-know-what sometime soon, which means French fries. He makes oven French fries and they're so good. Anyway, there's a little scully back there that's ceramic, and that came from the pottery show, and there's the other one. So I had two of those, and I decided that they were perfect for holding succulents. So I brought my succulents in a while back and just hadn't gone through and kind of like done things with them to make them happy for the winter. So I went through and like cut, did clippings and replanted, and so these guys now hold some new baby succulents. So that's kind of nice. I also got something really cool. I traded for some things. So I traded for those guys and I traded for this beautiful thing, which is made by this amazing woman named Janet, who I really, really liked, and we got along really, really well. I'm one of those people that's happy to look at everyone's pictures of their grandchildren and enjoy those with them. So we got along really well. But she calls this her dark side ladle. And so the name of it, along with just the cool snaky texture in the handle, and it's made so beautifully. So I was like, ooh, I need a dark side ladle. And I've been thinking about like because it's got this cool like bead on it and it could be hung up. I've been thinking about putting some succulents in there, maybe something like, I can't remember what they're called, but like the little ones that dangle, a couple that are that stay put and then some that dangle. So we'll see. My brain is not in plant mode right now, so accessing the plant vocabulary is just not happening. It's been that kind of a week, or even that kind of a month. This little beauty, which is not so little, is a flute made by this really cool woman called Kathy. And Kathy and Janet are very good friends, and I don't know how to make a flute. This is a pitched flute, and I really can't play it. I've tried before. I can't play it. I really can't play it, but that's okay because I just appreciate that it is a beautiful flute that's pitched. And so if anybody plays flute, then you kind of have some idea of how that works. But also her husband made her this really awesome wooden flute stand to use with it. Is that not so cool? And I asked her, I was like, so Kathy, tell me about your flute. Like, tell me what inspired it and talk to me about your process. And because I can listen to artists talk about their process really until the cows come home. Honestly, I enjoy hearing about that so much. And she could tell I really enjoyed hearing her talk about it. And so when it came down to be like the end of the show and everybody was like, hey, you want to trade? I was like, hey, you want to trade? And she said, I'd like you to have my flute. So that was really, really awesome. So I have a new flute and I really love it. And it kind of has some symbolism for me more than it's a practical thing. And then finally, I have this little guy. And so the woman who organized this is a classmate or former like university classmate of my partner, Tom. Her name's Jill. And I think it's upside down. Whistle Pig is the name of her, her online shop and her website. But she does work with monsters. So she does these really cool workshops with people where they create monsters in various different forms, like by just delving into their own deep, dark stuff that wants to come to the surface and be given a voice. They create their monsters and their demons. And this is one of her angels. And as she put it, she realized at some point a while ago that sometimes angels are kind of terrifying and fierce. And they're not really as sweet and cute and friendly as we'd like to think they are. And I don't know, I just love that. It's a flower block. So you put water in the bottom, this is hollow, and then you put flowers in the holes. And it kind of changes the entire character of the piece. So I got one of her scary angels. All the really cool like monsters and demons were already gone. And so the angels were what was left. And even then, I think there was only two. And so her mother-in-law, also an artist who was also displaying, we both got one. So, yeah. And next topic. So next topic, where are we? Yeah, we're doing okay. Interesting things. So I did all the readings for this week and got those prepared so that I could put them out today, and watched a few other people's readings in the meantime. I usually always watch Julianne Victoria's weekly readings, and I always watch Nina from Shuffle Tarot. I watch her readings as well. And I'm always fascinated by the ways that our readings end up similar, even though we don't have time to plan or even see each other's before they're put out. And I finished the general reading first this week because I usually do the general reading and then I follow it with the smaller like 3-card reading. And after I'd done this whole big thing that's about dinner. I just had some dinner and I scarfed it. So I'd just done it and I had just put it out there, and I got a phone call from this client that I've got at the moment. And basically the gist of the phone call was, wow, I've really been in a space where I needed to reach out and ask for more assistance and help and didn't. And I'm feeling really foolish for not having done that. Would you be able to come next week and do 9 to 5 Monday through Friday? Which, I mean, no, I can't. I don't know. I don't think she was thinking about it, realistically in terms of, I think it was one of those like Natalie, just when I'm not asking her to come out and help, she's sitting at home doing nothing kind of discussions, right? Rather than being realistic, which would be, oh, Natalie probably has to do a lot of other things or has a lot of other clients besides me, or, something that makes more sense. Because they know I'm a one-person show at this point. So I had to explain to her, like, no, I can't. No, I have a lot of other obligations and things that I'm doing right now. I'm just distracted because I realize I have something black on my hand. It's probably underglaze. Oh, you have your shark. And my dog, of course, it's this time of day. It's time to play Bubba Shark. Bubba Shark, doo 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 doo. Bubba Shark, doo 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 doo. You get the shark? Okay, you ready? Okay, that'll happen once or twice more, and then he'll be done. Yeah, I brought it in, and I got her. Sorry, the dog just brought that in, and I'm tired. What was I saying? Yes. So the client and I talked about it for a few minutes, and I said, why don't I come on Monday, and I'll be there most of the day, until I have to leave and be somewhere else at 3:30, and we can talk about what I can do to help, and maybe decide if we want to get home health care involved and so on. So it was funny to me that it was all about, the readings were about balance. Maybe needing to put boundaries around things and things getting really busy and yeah. And then suddenly this phone call comes and it was like insane. So I've already started. Where is your shark? Okay. It ends up falling behind the bench where I sit. Anyway, so it ended up being a situation where I realized I'd better start planning now to deal with the potential, challenges coming up this week. So that's what I've been up to all weekend, is kind of mitigating the, you just try and balance it out by taking 2 days that would otherwise have been really quiet and wouldn't have had too much going on. And then find the way to spread some of the work that you were going to put off to Monday, Tuesday, and move it all the way back to Saturday, Sunday. So, yeah. So I really didn't get a chance to do much of my work, my studio-based work today while I was there, because I was the monitor. And instead, I spent the time working on my kids' writing course that I teach through the big university who shall not be named for fear that they will fire me for it if they were ever to find out. Because they do pay reasonably well, and what they're doing is good work. So there we go. It was just really funny. And then I always love listening to other people's readings and predictions for the week and just seeing how they all overlap. But it does look like, obviously, we're all going to be finding some balance, needing some boundaries, getting back to work and working hard, and then trying to find where is that balance? And then how do I create peace? If I am peaceful is my instruction for the week. How do I create I am peaceful by creating greater balance in the meantime? So I have only scheduled for this evening all of my spiritual work, which I can do upside down, hands tied behind my back, hanging from a scaffolding, etc. Which basically is my way of saying I don't need a whole lot of intellectual energy to be left to perform, to meditate or to do a Jitro practice, which I'm going to do later on tonight. I'm actually collaborating with another local doula. She's got a client who I can't really say much about. Suffice it to say, this client is in ICU and probably in great distress physically, has been in the process of dying for quite some time. And the family, there's just some dynamics going on we both feel like probably her client would choose to leave their body if they could. So we're going to engage in a practice, of just very gentle prayer and loving kindness for this person, so this client, so that if what they want and need to do is to leave their body, that they feel safe and resolved and able to do that. And if what they're needing is more loving kindness and healing for themselves, to be able to suffer and be with, the process of being in the hospital and so forth right now, then they also have the energy for that. So it's a win-win. So we're just looking at how to bring comfort to someone in that circumstance by amplifying, how much love and how much energy and, holding of space, can take place whether we're here or whether we're there. So, yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that makes me so happy. So, and I thought, I'll come home and I'll do my video, and then I'll do the cards and do my class work, because I'm also in a class, and then I'll do my Jitro. So the class that I'm in, which I'm super excited about, it's the Santos and Signs class with Melissa Lucia. And I'm super hardcore geeked about this. I don't know that I would necessarily have been attracted to the deck until I saw it. And I got the Oracle of Initiation, which I left sitting over there. That's okay. Like 2 weeks ago. And right after getting it, or right before getting it, I saw her do her walkthrough of the Santos and Signs deck, because she was on Kassia's channel, doing an interview. And so this is the deck. And, she was there talking about it and discussing her process. And something about it and the way that she spoke about it made me, something just kind of opened up. Honestly, that's really what happened. And I thought, okay, I'm pretty sure I need to work with her. And then the cards arrived, the Oracle of Initiation arrived, and I knew I definitely have to work with her. So I just went ahead and signed up for the class. So I have done an opening, like an unboxing of that Oracle, an Oracle deck. It's so beautiful. She's a remarkable artist and photographer. Just aside from her spiritual work, her artwork is stunning. And it's really very impactful and original. So I guess as a fellow artist, I'm really intrigued, completely intrigued. And it's really when you own a couple of decks that came from Make Playing Cards, and these are the other ones, and from Game Crafter, that you realize how many people out there have created their decks that way and just don't say so because they market them from home and other ways. It's so interesting. You can tell so many things in the way something's printed. Maybe one day I'll talk about that in greater detail. It's not just the sniff test, I can tell you that. It's really not. It's not just sniffing. It's like, oh, I see. There's some, interesting. Anyway, so yes. So I'm very excited to do that. Oh, and I haven't done it yet. I'm going to, because I have to use these and pull them out for my assignment. That's a little bit of cellophane from unboxing. But I just got these. This is the the Funky Fortunes are in here. So I'm going to pull these out and do another video that's about the Funky Fortunes tonight. And then I'll put those out later this week. I promise. This is my promise that those are coming. I filmed the first one really simply, so I'm hoping all I have to do is put like, here's the name of the video and thank you for watching at the end, because I love those parts, and then they'll be ready. So hopefully I won't need to cut out any like you know, burps or farts or alarms going off or dog barking and going nuts and stuff like that. Interruptions from Tom where he comes and has a 5-minute conversation with me about something he was thinking about and then leaves, right? Because those happen. And I guess then finally, let's talk about some decks, because there's decks coming up. I am not going to do an October favorites and coming up in November this month, because it's just not, it didn't work out this time. But it does work out for me to come in and have a chit chat with you on a Sunday night, because I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that. So I kind of wanted to just share some really cool edging that I've been doing. So, look at that. So I'm using the amber color from the, Fossilized Amber Distress Ink. This is the same one that I used on my it's on the New Earth Tarot. And I remembered thinking, oh, it's kind of splotchy, something, I must have waited too long before doing it. I realized, no, that's just how it's just how it goes on. So it is called Distress Ink. The ink itself is not distressed, but it is intended to cause some distress or to create the impression that something has been distressed. So I think the closer with these that you get to like an earth tone, the more it kind of goes on less evenly, maybe something like that, in order to give it a kind of a mottled effect. So I did end up being like, on there to get it to be more solid. Which I think I did with New Earth as well. But it's kind of cool, and it definitely works with the coloring of this deck and these cards, with that orangey color. To have the gold on the side, it gives the effect I was hoping. It's nice. It's a nice transitional color between, the orange and the kind of gold on the side. So, or the orangey brown. I still have most of the deck to do. But I got it started while I was sitting chatting with a doula friend on the phone, doing friend phone support the other day, which is so beautiful. I'm so happy I have doulas now that I can hang out with and talk to, and we can like converse and talk about things and help each other, and it's great. The other next big thing that I'm really excited about, before I get to that, look what I did with this is the Natalie Rose Lenormand. I knew I was going to try this at some point. It's now black outlined. Isn't that cool? And it just works for this Lenormand. And I let it kind of bleed a little bit because you can't really tell very well. Oh, you can a little bit. It's kind of speckled and mottled on the backs, in the cards anyway. The lighting is terrible because it is not daylight. And natural light is so much better. But suffice it to say, this kind of cool looking, just black outline works. I don't know, it felt like it worked because these are all, the backing is black outline and the line work on the drawings is black outline. So I thought, yeah, black edging on the cards would be great. And I'm starting to learn more. I'm getting more comfortable with Lenormand. It's a process, I'll be honest. It's not as intuitive or easy to read as a scene for me. So like the character, I've realized something about the way that I read cards. And I mean, this goes for any cards that I'm looking at. It doesn't matter whether they're Oracle, Tarot, Pip decks, Marseille style decks. It really doesn't matter. But I'm reading them in terms of the kind of the theater and the scene that is being set, which tells me that I'll probably feel like it's a very natural thing to read Sibylla or Kipper as well. So as I've recognized that through the process of attempting to read Lenormand cards and attempting to read, going back to playing with Pip style decks, I've come to recognize that that's what I'm doing. And that's why I struggle or have been struggling a little bit to really fully interpret and take in the Lenormand. And so I'm realizing there's like a little barrier there. And that may require that I begin thinking differently about Lenormand and interpreting some of those symbols in my own way. And I don't know if that's normally a part of how you do it or not, but I guess it's the easiest thing to say is like the programming I already have in my brain is not what's best for Lenormand. So that's cool because that means I can adapt. I just have to figure out how to do it. In the meantime, I'm going to work finally with my Triomphe de la Luna, which I edged in purple because I just love edging stuff in purple. And I've made a video about this one as well because I got so geeked earlier this week about playing with this particular deck. You know, it wasn't just, wow, the light is so nasty. I wonder if I do this, will this help? Yes. No. Maybe. Bastard light. And you can't do anything with that one. But anyway. Yeah, look at that. 10 of Swords. Bastard light. So yeah, I don't know. This is a fun deck. I've never really spent any time with it, you know, since I got it. Never did a walkthrough. Or maybe I did a brief walkthrough. It's been a long time. I got it back in February, like not long after I started the channel, actually. And I've just never worked with it, but I've discovered so many things about it. I felt so called to play with it and look at it. I've been meaning to look back again at my Pip decks and my Marseille style decks because I'm enjoying Diane from Indigo Moon Woman's videos about Marseille and working with Marseille. And it started me kind of thinking not just about going back to it, but also something that I've already been percolating on for some time, which is looking at Marseille and the Marielle, because I've heard a few people mention the similarities there. I do find as well that really I'm kind of reading Marseille style, and I don't think I was really that aware of it, but following gazes, following common things from one card to the next, you know, that kind of reading style is something I've been doing for I guess since I started, really. And I did start with the Marseille style deck, although the person who taught me to read it was not teaching me what I would call anything that's like a traditional Marseille style. Maybe this would help. Is that a little better? I don't know. We'll see. At any rate, something else I recognize too is that the reason why this Lunar Nomad deck, right? This is the Lunar Nomad Oracle. And the reason why this one is shears, I think, instead of a sieve. Part of why I like reading with this particular deck is because the images are so vivid, and it sucks me in, and it becomes possible to read across, you know, if I draw 3 cards here, I think, you know, I can find all kinds of ways that they link. And I don't even know whether I'm actually interpreting the Lenormand the way it's intended. I can just tell you that it's vivid. It completely excites my intuition and starts telling me all sorts of fascinating things. And that can't be a bad thing, right? But because they're so pictorial, and there's so many like literal layers to the images, and we've got some extras in here too, obviously like the umbrella, you know, that snake has a lot going on. Right? That's a pretty vivid looking snake. Similarly, that cross has a lot going on. So yeah, I don't know. It brings up, and so does this woman. It just brings up a lot. So when they're in this tower, right? So when you're looking at it, it takes you to very different places. Like if there are clouds in this picture with this tree, but there's also clouds here and it's about perfume, and there's a woman in the, you know, there's just so many different possibilities and places you can go with it. So very exciting. Also very exciting to start reading so intuitively with with an oracle deck that isn't numbered, that doesn't have a PDF guidebook, and where really, and I'm talking specifically about signs and Santos, but where you kind of have to just you figure it out for yourself based on how it feels and how it reads. So, yeah. Learning a lot about how I read and what that style is and how that functions, and it's so interesting. It's probably, it's also as a result of working with the Sigilla Medievalia, Medieval Sigils Tarot, right? Which I continue to work with. Excuse me, everybody. Oh my goodness. I realize I struggled with my daily draws in October. Some days I did them, some days I forgot, some days I drew with several decks, and maybe wrote one or two down. Other days I may have done a couple of draws with one with a Lenormand, one with Medieval Sigils, one with Tarot de Saint Croix, and then didn't write any of them down, or put one on Instagram but didn't, I was just all over the map. It was a really busy month, new client and starting the course that it was just a lot. It was a lot. So, yeah, it was all over the map, and I'm hoping to shift that somewhat for November, but I'm also willing to be a little bit anti-structure this month, if that's what, with my tarot practice and my this particular practice, because I want to say that the practice is serving me anyway. Whether I write it down, don't write it down, it's going in the moment in the way that it needs to. I feel like I'm learning and understanding what I need to, so I'm okay with it being a little anti-structure at the moment. Sometimes I think sometimes that can be a very fertile place to be. If my organizational intelligences, which are not my native intelligences, honestly, need to be put toward, organizing more things in the real world, in the rational world, for the sake of peace and having a relaxed mind, I'm okay with letting go of that. Because I know that I'll pick up a deck, play with it, talk to it, read with it, etc., in the way that I need to, and I'll get what I need from it at that moment. And whether or not I write it down is at this moment is not the most important thing. So I'm okay with that. However, I will be writing down what I do with the Signs and Santos deck, because it's part of the course. So I am going to probably start it with its own little journal, like a smaller journal, where I can write down what happens and keep some kind of a written record of stuff. So kind of exciting. So yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, so here's to all of us coming up with some great balance for the coming week. And thank you for sharing this time with me, everybody. It's such a joy, and I really have fun just connecting in this really informal way about life and things and so on. So, all right, I'll talk to everybody soon. Have a great week. Bye.